Hey, what is up, everyone? Welcome to Market Psychology 101, where we look for value in the markets when there's fear and are cautious when there's greed. In today's video, I'm going to be taking a look at some of the other altcoins available on Coinbase, just completely random, and ones I've heard a lot about, ones that are relatively new to me this cycle. And yeah, I hope you find this video to be helpful. So first, let's start off with crypto fear and greed, and we are at 80. Anything above 75 is extreme greed. So again, be very cautious. And as far as this macro fear and greed index, we have not been this high since two other times before. In late 2020, when Bitcoin was getting above the prior all-time highs that were set in 2017, that's when we stayed up here in greed. Now, this wasn't the all-time high. That came later in April, where Bitcoin got to something like 65,000. It was settling between the high 50,000s, low 60s. Went down a little bit, almost a 50% drawdown into the 30s. And then here in November, it had its true all-time high to 69,000 and some change. We have just broken above that all-time high recently, so that's why greed is way up here. This right here, that was a mid-cycle top in 2019. So showing you what that looks like on the rainbow chart. This was the 2017 top. That mid-cycle top I talked about was right here. And when greed was really high, that was right in here. And then we had that double top. So what is new about this cycle so far is that before the halving, and if you don't know what the halving is, each halving, half the amount of Bitcoin gets mined. So half the amount of Bitcoin is being mined and produced after this halving. That might drive up the price because it's creating a lower supply in a sense. We'll see. That's what's been happening in the cycles prior. But yeah, it's interesting how we are at all-time highs for the first time in the next cycle before the halving. That has not happened before, so we'll see how that plays out. The halving is around April 19th or 22nd, something around there. And something else I've noted is that here on this rainbow chart, you can see we go up a buy zone on this logarithmic scale. Log is by factor of 10. And this first halving, we were in this fire sale zone. Second halving, we went up a zone. Third halving, up a zone. Fourth halving, it'd be that green zone. And if we were to put the date near there, this expects it to be somewhere between 52 and 69K. We'll see where Bitcoin is at that time. Just the pattern I've noticed doesn't mean it has to keep holding on to it. And as far as alt season, if we're taking a look at the macro chart, both the rainbow chart and this alt season chart available on blockchaincenter.net, not sponsored, not affiliated. You can see that we are moving up. And when we had alt season, when alts really blew up last cycle in here, this one I remember being the biggest one for many of the alts. They ran very hard into that first peak that I showed you. Some alts did make their highs in the second peak when it went to somewhere around November of 2021, but most that I saw were in here. This happened before Bitcoin broke the all-time high. So going over to Bitcoin real quick on the chart before we take a look at some of the other altcoins available. I have this little trend line drawn just from the peaks of the 21 bull run, and I want to see the price get above that. Also, I have the candles on the Heikin-Ashi right now, and what that means, so if you go over to candles, if you go over to Heikin-Ashi, you can see that we have not had a close in the candle above the line where the prior all-time high is. I do want to see that because, as you can see here before, when we are having very strong bullish momentum and we get a little bit of a correction, when we don't double top and actually break through, that is very bullish and a very good thing. So here was a bigger correction, something around 22%. And we've had four of those corrections. Again, 22%, 22%. I'll just show you one of these. 22%. Same right here, just from the top of the red to the bottom. So I do want to see this break up and through. However, if we don't break up and through, it is possible that maybe we see a little bit of a correction at least in the short to medium term. You can see there's some structure here around 51, a lot of structure around 43, but let's just say maybe we got down to 51%. And that would mean just from this most recent peak that we could see our biggest correction since the bottom of November of 2022, and that would be about a 30% correction. And we also have this fib line right here, so just something to look out for. If you can't see this, let me blow this up for you. We have the 200 moving average a little bit below. That is, to me, the hard line in the sand that I do not want to see Bitcoin move under. Otherwise, to me, that confirms that we are in a bearish downtrend. So as long as it stays above this 200, and which is going to keep coming up, and also stays above this fib line, let me get that for you quick, just to make sure I get it right. The 786, of course. As long as we stay above the 786, the 200, I'm still going to feel macro bullish. You can see last time Bitcoin had a major correction and only got down to that 100-day moving average. If we go over to the weekly, anything we see there, yeah, it kind of got near the 20-week, was honoring the 10-week moving average. That's that light blue line. So right now on the weekly, we'll follow the 10. On the daily, maybe follow the 50, and then the 100. We had a very strong bounce off the 100. So altcoins go the way that Bitcoin goes. Anyways, let's get into some of the special alts I want to take a look at. And again, guys, this is important. You do want to follow what Bitcoin's doing, because alts, when Bitcoin does well, alts do well. And when Bitcoin dominance, which is the overall percent of the crypto market that's in Bitcoin, when this tanks, that tends to be when alts can explode and go 20x, 10x within a few weeks, like a 2 to 6 week time. So do make sure you're watching Bitcoin dominance just in case that happens. So one of the coins I wanted to take a look at with you guys today is Fetch.AI. It has AI in the name, so people are loving this coin, whether or not they know what it does. And as you can see here, it got to this 2618 at 303 and has just recently gone above it. So if we go to the daily, this is just believe today, yesterday, this is very, very bullish. The next target I have for Fetch.AI, if we scroll down a little bit here, we want to look for that purple line. So the next target for me, the 3618, 417, I would like to see that reach. Now, let's say you bought Fetch somewhere down here at around 7-8 cents, or even here at around 20, and you are doing fantastic right now. Maybe you can take a look at setting some possible sell orders around, or just a tad under 417. Now, as far as the market cap, it does have a $2.8 billion market cap. I see a lot of people throw crazy price predictions on YouTube. And with that being said, you want to consider where the market cap is at, because anyone can give you any price in the world. But if the market cap, the overall net worth of that asset, of that crypto, that stock is crazy, then you don't want to trust what that person has to say. So let's say you believe Fetch can be something like a $50 billion market cap. Well, if you believe that, then you'd believe we could still go up 18x from where Fetch is right now. Now, will it get there? Maybe. I'm not sure. But maybe you have some ideas in your head on where an altcoin like Fetch can get to market cap wise, whether it's 20 billion, 50 billion, maybe 100 billion. That's what Doge got to last time. I personally don't believe it would get somewhere like that. So do make sure that if you were buying down here, that hopefully, I hope, not financial advice, but that you take some profits. And right now, to me, Fetch is looking pretty bullish. Let's next move over to IMX. People have compared this to this cycle's version of Axie Infinity. So crypto in charge of other gaming, crypto technology, blah, blah, blah. I've only done light research, as you can hear me explaining it. But just looking at the charting is that, and I do not right now own any IMX, so full disclosure. So right now, looking at the charting on the daily, you can see we had a nice bounce, two bounces actually, off the 0.5 fib and the 100 moving average. So right now it's hanging under this, I believe that's the 618. Let's just confirm. Yep, 618. Right now it's hanging just under the 618. Would like to see it get above, but maybe it comes back down to that 100 before coming up again. Now here at the 786, it's been rejected pretty strongly at that 377 level. So do keep an eye on that for IMX. And as far as the market cap of IMX goes, you can see here it has a $4 billion market cap. So a 5x would make it worth 20 billion. A 10x would make it worth around 40 billion. And so let's say you believe this can do a 10x. Let's zoom out a little bit here. And a 10x would put us somewhere around 30. Do we have any? Well, it shows us to the 4236. So let's just take a look at this one right here at 18.6. So that's a 6x up here. So if you took 6 multiplied times the market cap, around a $24 billion market cap, sure, we can go to higher extensions past that. But just something to keep in mind. These fib levels, oftentimes, I do see the price get up there before, if it were to make a new all-time high, before it either stops and sells off or has some little bit of structure, some bounce, and then going back up and through. So some possible price targets should crypto throughout April, May, June get crazy bullish and Bitcoin's going up to 120, 150, who knows, maybe 200,000. I know it sounds crazy having been through the 2017 and the 2021 bull runs, guys. I've been here in both these cycles, and let me tell you, it doesn't even make sense. It just keeps going up, and then near the end, the altcoins during that alt season, when Bitcoin dominance tanks, things just explode. It's euphoria. People don't understand why, but that's where you want to take profits in there. So, seeing this happen twice, can Bitcoin get to, you can see in this rainbow chart, can it get to between 120, 200,000? I mean, sure, why not? But again, do think about the market cap of Bitcoin if that were to happen. So right now, if we go to Bitcoin, it has a $1.4 trillion market cap. So if we took this times 2, just 70,000 times 2, and Bitcoin was worth around 140,000, that would mean its market cap was at 2.8 trillion, putting it right up there with Apple and Microsoft, the top stocks in the world. Could that happen? Maybe. We'll see. So next, after IMX, and again, guys, I hope you are seeing, as far as the price targets, if things were to get bearish, let's say, that scenario I talked about, if Bitcoin was to go through a bigger correction around the halving, I don't know if it is or isn't, but if it did, do watch for the 100 and the 200 moving averages as well as these fibs. When assets get under their 200 moving average, to me, that's just bullish, and I want to see a reversal and to get back above the 200 moving average to hopefully confirm bullishness again. But as far as, let me put this on the log scale here. But even as far as this chart, you can see, yes, we can get above it, but then back below. So lots of different ways of looking at it. I personally like to go to the weekly for more of a macro view. I don't buy assets on the daily or shorter time frames. I follow the monthly and the weekly and try to be as patient, get as much value as I can out of that. Next, let's take a look at ACH. So ACH is another one, and I can move this fib over a little bit. It's been a while since I've checked Alchemy Pay ACH. And here you can see, well, let's take this fib and throw it on the log like I did the other one. So on log, what do we notice? So we've gotten above the 618, and we're trying to get to the 786 at 5.5 cents. If we go to the daily time frame, can kind of see this little, I guess you could call it a dead cat bounce. We went way up, came down. I'm thinking, at least by looking at this, that it would come back down to this fib. Now, last time it was nice. We had this 20-day moving average structure that it got to and the fib. So if it went back down, it would get through that 20-day and then would maybe have to wait for the 50-day moving average to catch up. So that's what Alchemy pays. ACH is currently looking like. And as far as market cap, let's check ACH's market cap. So 200, it's the number 254 crypto overall, and market cap 410 million. Am I reading that right? Yeah, 410 million. So if it were to do a 10x, you're looking at 4 billion, a 20x, then 8 billion. So going back to ACH, if we zoom out here, and again, guys, there's no guarantee that it has to hit those price targets. Something I am cautious of with cryptos like ACH is, look at the bottom, the date when it came out. I see this all too often with cryptos that come out after or right at the end or just after a cycle is completed, and I just see them turn into a falling knife. This went from 6.5 cents down to just an eighth of or 80% of a penny. So hopefully it gets back up into new all-time highs. But a lot of them, be careful of any new altcoins that come out, especially now that we've just made new all-time highs. I don't touch those because I've seen this in 2017 and in 2021 that those alts, I can't even think of a single one that made all-time highs or that was a good investment, being that close to the end of the bull run. Not that it can't the next cycle, but just something to be aware of. So right now, you see ACH, we're at 4 cents. And should we get, look at the 4236. That's about a 10x. We talked about 10x being something around 4 billion. You could target that. You could target that price level of 38.9 cents up there. In the 3618, 33.3 cents. Again, not saying it has to go there, but when you take the fib off log and take a look at some of the fib extensions above the prior high, it is interesting how the price targets hit those quite a bit. I can go to something like NVIDIA, draw from the low to the high. Let me make sure I'm making a comparable comparison. Yep, took it off log scale. And just take a look at NVIDIA here. After it broke those highs, look how it honored this 1618 fib. And I know it's hard to see there, but it was even honoring, came back down to the 20 daily average before shooting up at the 2618. And then right now, NVIDIA's being rejected at the 3618. And again, possibly looking to bounce off that 20-day moving average. So the only reason I'm showing you NVIDIA here is, again, to show how these fibs often do play some important structure. And when it goes down and seems random, that's why we throw on our moving averages. And when you click the 5-year, it'll show you the weekly. And obviously, these are now moving averages by week. And then 1 year shows us the daily. So that's how I come up with those, in case you guys are looking to replicate a little bit of that yourself. Anyways, let's move on. Let's see, we just did ACH. Let's do Jasmy. And Jasmy, you can see here, since this chart began, again, November of 21, you can see it at the bottom. November of 21, that was the very peak of Bitcoin. Or was that November of 22? No, that was November of 21. Sorry, I saw the 22 and that threw me off. That was Monday the 22nd of November of 2021. So literally this came out right after Bitcoin made its true all-time high in the 2021 cycle until, this last month or so. And take a look at this. Jasmy started out at around 35 cents, got down to a third of a penny. Now, Jasmy has been getting bullish again. It got above the 382. Love to see that. And something you notice is it came back down. It threw that 382, but it bounced nicely off the 50-day moving average right here. So this looks similar to, which chart was it? IMX, ACH, maybe, whatever. Looks similar to one of those that, maybe it's going to come back down to this fib line again and bounce off this 17, or sorry, this penny 0.76 level right here at the 382. So if you're willing to be patient, I would be patient on that. See if we get a nice bounce, maybe a reversal on the daily with a buy signal. That'd be a green dot. I know it's hard to see, but green dots there, those indicate buying signals. On the weekly, we don't see anything like that. You could say, well, we have this 100-week moving average kind of wicked just about to it and above. But I think, at least with this chart, the daily shows us a lot more. So Jasmy, heck, if this thing got back up to where this chart began, around 36 cents, that would be awesome. It would be. That would be like an 18x from right where it is. And if we're wondering about market cap for Jasmy, let's find out the market cap. And Jasmy coin, it's the number 97 crypto overall, so top 100. So it's got a $1.1 billion market cap. So if it did an 18x, then it's going to be worth 18 billion. So just something to keep in mind. Jasmy, 18 billion. If it gets back to former all-time highs, now let's say you're hoping that Jasmy gets above that level. Again, let's take this off log and let's scroll up a little bit and see what some of our next price targets are. Well, the 1618, if we did something like a 36, or hell, let's just call it a 40x for simplicity's sake. Well, no, 30x. Sorry. Yeah, because we would have around 60 cents divided by 2. That's 30. And then 36 cents divided by 2. Did I say 18? Yeah. 18 times 2 is 36. All right. Thought I was being crazy here, and then I just doubled it, which that's not comparable. That'd be 72 cents if it doubled. Sorry. Brain math. I'm drinking a beer right now. It's obviously having an effect. Even though I've only had like a quarter of a glass. So I'd be watching this 1618 if we did get above, like a hawk, and seeing if we got near that 58 cent level. I've seen a lot of videos talking about, Jasmy to $5, $10. Guys, I don't know. Maybe. I don't want to encourage that type of thinking, because here's my concern with those videos is, clearly those people who make those videos have gigantic bags and holdings of Jasmy. And I don't think they give a crap about their followers. Really, the whole point of crypto investing is making money. And if you can shill the heck out of whatever you own a lot of and give people this unrealistic price target, well, people are going to be holding in way past when they should. So I'm here to just say, make sure you have an exit strategy. Everyone's different. Maybe you're looking to take 100% out if it got back to all-time highs, or the 786, whatever. Or maybe you're looking to take out 50% at former all-time highs and the other 50% here, or a third, whatever it is. Just again, watch for these fibs and maybe take out a portion, just instead of a sell order for a certain percent, just right below, in order to be safe, because sometimes things will almost wick to that fib and then not. So that's why we tend to see very strong reactions off those fibs and things like NVIDIA, stuff like Fetch, is because people do have those sell orders in place. So something you can do on Coinbase with your Jasmy or any of these other altcoins, and just something to keep in mind. So if things got super bullish, I'm taking a look at that 58 cents area right there. Let's take a look at DNT. So District OX, 2017 coin. And full disclosure, I've had District at multiple times. In 2017, I got it again in 2020 before that bull run, and I've made money off it twice. Now, something that's concerning to me about District is it has had these two peaks. Here it got to this 50-cent price, 49, whatever, at the end of that bull run in the 2017 cycle. Yes, the bottom says January 8th, right after, trust me, everything tanked. I mean, look at this, went down, it went down to 3.4 cents like that, going up from 50 to 3.4 cents like in a couple months. It was nuts. So, District OX, again, in 2021, May, it got up to near that price level again. So if it got back up there, we're talking about, the low 50-cent level, something like that. However, you could say we are forming this flag pattern, so whether it's this cycle's bull run or maybe even the next one, that maybe District starts to coil and then next cycle it really shoots through. I don't know, but it's just something I've noticed with these trend lines. But again, trend lines are only good for as long as they're good for. Anyways, let's get to the price where it's currently at. We have this red long-legged doji, but thing with long-legged dojis, they can explode either way. And right now, this is on the weekly. It's just above the 0.5 at 8.3, 8.4 cents. Let's go over to the daily. What do we notice? So we got up to the next fib up. Which one is that? Woo, sorry. The 618, of course, at 12 cents, 12 cents and 77. But back down here to the 0.5. So the 0.5, giving it good structure. And then on the daily, I know it's hard to see. Let me keep zooming in here. You can see how this has very nicely been staying above this 20-day moving average. So I like how we have the 20-day moving average and the fib right here. Hopefully it creates a strong base. If it were to get lower, watch the 50 daily moving average. Right now it's at like 6.5 cents. But right now, buy, sell, buy signals here in the daily. Hopefully this just accumulates for a bit and then goes up again. Something else to note here is you can see, let's just measure this out actually, at least on the daily, February 29th to March 10th. Okay, so 10 days it went up after it peaked up there. Okay, and so after we got up to that highest candle, right now we've been at 17 days. So, maybe it's coiling up and maybe in a few days it's getting ready to make another big move, whether up or down. My guess right now is up, hopefully, but you never know. It maybe District OX is getting ready to do that. So I'm showing you this, guys, and the reason why, I can go to the last bull run. I remember this, is that you can see here as we were shooting up, I want you to pay attention to something here. That first time when it really aped up, you can see that was about 62 days. Okay, just something weird I noticed last time. 62 days. And then here before the next leg up, 30 days. And then I was wondering, is it going to be half of that again to the very peak? And then, that's not really supporting my case here, but it's about 8 days. So I guess you could say this right here was a quarter of that, and this here was half of that. I don't know. Sometimes I think we can, and I'm guilty of this right now, we can look for patterns and they kind of play out, kind of don't. But as this thing was going up, I was like, well, it's interesting here how, well, that wasn't 120 days. I was hoping it would be. Well, I guess we can go from right here. Let's just move the goalpost, why don't we? We're just playing with it. We're just playing with different things. So just something I thought interesting, that took half the time as it did here. And it's like, watch, like as it gets close to about half the time as it did here, is it going to move up? And it did. So, sometimes I do wonder if these bull runs, if they kind of play out a certain way, like, just by patterns, whether it's by the number of days, the number of weeks, whatever. Again, don't take this too seriously. I'm just kind of thinking out loud and something I'm curious of. Another crypto I've talked with people about is SEI, and we need to redraw this fib. So let's get this out of here. And we'll go from this. So we are at new highs. Where was this? This was August of 23. So very new coin. And let's go from that high to, I'm trying to catch that low right over here. Okay, and what do we notice? Again, the fibs coming into play, the 2618. And with SEI, where is SEI's market cap? Anyway, sorry, let's go to DNT's market cap first. Number 514 crypto overall and 90 million. Okay, now again, doesn't mean district has to be worth 9 billion or anything like that and do a 100x. I mean, that would be nice, but maybe if you're thinking, well, what if it did a 10x? It could be worth 900 million, at least for a short moment. Just something to think about. Again, to help you do your market cap conversion. So SEI, the number 57 crypto overall, and has a $8.6 billion market cap. A little bit of rejection off the 2618. Do we notice anything on the daily? Yeah, we have that 50 daily moving average giving it some nice bounces with some daily buy support. Now you see all these moving averages on the daily. Again, look at it back here. It loves that 50. Had a brief little flash sell to the 100-day moving average and then immediately got bought back up. But the 50-day, it's been honoring pretty good. I'm curious, anything on the weekly? All right. So look at that. We have this little candle here, but it's actually got a green buy signal, and this is the 10-day moving or the 10-week moving average. So it is interesting. Maybe this one's getting ready to go up again. We'll see. But if it did, then you could be taking a look at these next price targets. 2618 at $1.10, the 3618 at $1.50, 4236 up even higher from there. So how high can SEI go? Again, I think from there you can extend your fibs further, or you can take a look, its market cap and maybe, go from there and say, well, maybe it could go, I don't know, let's start a number, times 5 and be worth, something like what would that put? 8.5, like $45 billion market cap, at least for a short time, best case scenario. Maybe, but yeah, just something to keep in mind. Another altcoin, I was talking with a friend of mine about this one, Optimism. And oh my God, we have to draw a new fib. Let's get rid of that. And let's zoom out here. What do we got? With Optimism? I think I might leave it on this one. Oh God, yeah, we're at 32 minutes. So let's go from this high to that low right there. Hopefully this is good. And yeah, what do you notice? Look at this, the 1618. So on the weekly, it had a sell. It came down to that 20 pretty good, but is staying above the 10. We had this fib line that it bounced off nicely too at the 786. If we go to the daily, what do we notice? So the 100 moving average is barely holding on here. It almost got down to the 200, but got bought up. So Optimism, I would like to see it stay above the 100. It does have the former high way back from February of 2023, so a year ago. It does have that former high. Where this thing's going, who knows? But as far as Optimism, I do believe it is a top 30 altcoin. At least last I checked, it was somewhere around there. Or maybe it's top 40, sorry. So a $3.7 billion market cap. So again, 10x would be $37 billion. Could it get there? Maybe, I don't know. It's harder to chart, obviously, with the newer cryptos when we only have like a year or so worth of data. But yeah, I'd be following this 100-day moving average and hoping it stays above that. Myself personally, if there's a stock, a crypto I've researched, I believe in, I at least try to look at the monthly. As you can see, we don't get too many of those, or the weekly, and decide whether or not it's worth dollar cost averaging in, if it makes sense. If we haven't already ran up a bunch. I mean, right here, Optimism, is already ran up. I mean, just from where it is, 200%. So, even if we got a turnaround, a buy signal, I personally wouldn't buy. But if you've been spending time in the market and you got it down here, when we had higher lows, and let's show you some better fib structure here. As it got on a higher fib, more buy signals, this would have been a great time to buy in if you were watching that. So anyways, guys, I just wanted to kind of show you some altcoins I've heard about. Maybe I have a little bit of money in, not all of them, but some of them, sure, and to see where they're at. So anyways, I hope your crypto investments are doing well. Kind of the last note here, something just to be aware of, at least that I'm kind of watching for. We have Bitcoin dominance forming this kind of flag pattern here, and I am wondering if we are going to get Bitcoin dominance. Again, that's the overall percent of money that's in Bitcoin moving up. That can cause altcoins to go down. But again, when Bitcoin dominance flash crashes, that is the best time to have your altcoins. And as it gets, at least the last two times, as it gets, to this low 40 percentile, tends to be a great time to sell and take profits. So, if Bitcoin dominance does go up, that could be not good for alts. Alternatively, I'm just trying to speak for both sides of the argument. On one hand, yeah, we could be, having an early bull run, something, maybe this cycle tops out this year in June and goes crazy, like 150K Bitcoin. I don't know. We could have that, sure. Inversely, where these weekly candles have closed and not closed significantly above prior all-time highs, we've wicked above it, but not closed in the body. And I also want to see it break that trend line. If we don't do that, I am concerned, because you can see here, since September 18th of last year, we've only had 2 red candles on the weekly for the Heikinashi. And so, Bitcoin, and I know it does crazy stuff, but I'm just trying to remove my bias about this, being Bitcoin in a possible, new cycle blow off top. But it's moved 160% inside of, or a little bit over half a year, with only 2 red weekly candles in here. So with having such a strong move compared to, this being a nice, slow, steady grind, do know that we can be prone to little bits of flash crashes, whether it's 20% or possibly even 30%. And I believe I talked about this earlier in this video. Do watch for that 30%. If we got down to something like 51,000, it's not a bad thing, especially if we get a nice bounce. Maybe we don't get down there. Maybe we go to like 55, 56,000 and bounce nicely off the 100-day moving average. Or, maybe this plays out a little bit and then meets up with the 200-day moving average as it keeps ascending, has a big correction, and then boom, and then we go off. That can happen, and that has happened before. Even as Bitcoin made new all-time highs, we did have corrections in here. You can see here, 12%, not really anything that bad. But even here, look, when it got down to the 50-day moving average, that was a 30% correction, which happened in January of 21. Here was the new all-time highs, but even in January, it had a 30% correction, but hit that 50-day moving average, and again, topped here in April. Curious, how big is this one right here? So even that, 25% correction. So it's not out of the realm of possibility. Even when Bitcoin was, going crazy bullish, you can see this line, that was the prior all-time high. And even when it's going crazy bullish, look at that, 200-day moving average. How much was that correction? 40%. And I remember 2017, it was bullish overall. So, these 40% corrections, it kind of became a joke at the time. I remember it's like, well, another flash 30% correction, and we're still going up. So, I'm not trying to sound bearish here. I don't try to sound bearish or bullish. I try to look at things, from both perspectives. But do know, whether we get our typical 20% correction as we've had 4 other times before, here, 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 and here, whether we get that. Actually, what's been that recent one on the daily? I haven't truly measured that out. So 17% correction. I guess I put it up there. So, 5 corrections, 17 to 22%. It's within 5% of each time, so I'll include it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 corrections. Whether or not we get another one, in that 17, let's just say 20% range, or a big one, like 30%, that isn't a bad thing as long as we keep bouncing hard and going up. But again, my concern right now, just putting this on the Heikin-Ashi candles, is, God, I thought I was going to close this video out 10 minutes ago. Sorry. You guys are getting to realize something about me. I'm trying my best. But with the Heikin-Ashi, we need these candles to close above here. And I would personally like for it to get above this trend line. With having so much green, so little red, I am worried about a little bit of a flash crash possibly coming soon. It's just the way I'm seeing the charts right now. We're in extreme green, lots of green. I'm getting very cautious. Not that Bitcoin can't have that and also go to 150K, whatever new levels it could get to. But just something to keep in mind. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If there's any altcoins that I don't talk about regularly that are available on Robinhood or Coinbase, let me know in the comments below. Happy to take a look at any. I'm also trying to teach you guys some ways on how to look at the charts too, so you can do this as well and make your own educated guesses or gambles, I should say, because it's crypto. So anyways, hope you guys have had a wonderful week and that you are all doing well. So take care. Thanks for watching.